Hi everyone, it's craftytinas. In today's video, we're going to talk about spiral binding. We're going to use the universal cinch, but even if you do not have the universal cinch and you have any of the other cinches, you can still watch this video because we are going to talk about the half page. I'm going to show you guys a new printout I have for you, and I'm going to tell you a little bit of details about what size spiral the universal cinch can do and what it can't do at the moment. So even if you don't have the universal cinch, please check this video out if you want to do spiral binding on your notebooks, because this is going to be very important. In a past video, I did show you how you can use the 4:1 pitch spiral in your other cinch machines. It does not have to be the universal. The universal is made to do spirals, but I found a hack or a trick where you can put your spirals that are 4:1 pitch using your mini and your original cinch, both in the round holes and in the square holes. Now today's video, we're going to show you how to do a simple cover spiral bound half page, and our new page is a menu page. Holidays are coming, it's super busy, menus are going to get crazy, food is going to get crazy, and if you're like me and you're trying to eat healthy, you need to stick to a plan. In order to have a plan, you need to plan it out, because if you have the ingredients for healthy food, you will be more likely to eat healthy food than going out to eat. So my mission as far as in the kitchen is to eat healthier. My mission in the craft room is to show you how to use your crafting tools. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so. I'm Crafty Tina's, and I show you how to use your tools to get the most out of them. I don't know why I can't just buy a crafting tool, use it the way it's intended, and carry on. But every time I get a crafting tool, I have to think outside the box. I want to make something other than its intended purpose. I want to make something different, original, creative. Why can't I make this? Why am I limited to this one size? If you've seen my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. I have even created spreadsheets so that we can use other, especially we are memory keeper, we can use other sizes with our tools. So I do have cheat sheets for the cinch log, the mini. I'm starting one for the universal. I have sheets for the shadow box, so we can make all kinds of shadow box sizes and not the 4 we're limited to. I have the envelope punch to make boxes. I have the explosion box in other sizes. Even the alphabet punch board, I have a little cheat sheet with colorful little images to help you make your notes. You guys see how this is crinkling and not folding as properly as it should? We are going to discuss why that is in a couple of minutes. We have a worksheet for the word punch board. I have a one sheet wonder layout, and then I have some blue line notebook pages that you can print out for your half page books. Now these are folded, and I chose to bind my sheets using spiral because these sheets update regularly. As we find more and more things to do with these lovely machines, we're updating them. This little cinch log, the regular cinch log, started out as a little bitty paragraph, and it is now on 4 different pages. So these do get updated regularly. Now I think I know the problem is this spiral is too big. So we're going to cut some of it off and see if that helps. Yes, it does. I was about to say, because I tested this book numerous times before I started this video. So this is my journal with my logs in them. If you want any of these logs, they're free. They're on my Facebook page. They're PDFs. You can just print them out, fold them in half. They're just simple full pages folded in half. And I leave you the 1/2 inch on the side so that you can bind it. And this thing's still not cooperating. Okay, let's talk about why it's not cooperating. There are different size spirals. They go from a 1/4 inch, which is this tiny little guy, all the way up, according to our machine, to 1 1/8. 1 1/8, 1 1/4. Now let's talk about what spirals this machine can bind comfortably. I was under the impression this was a universal cinch and that we'd be able to use all the different sizes. Now we've talked about sizes of wires because when we use the other cinch machines, we've used these double loop wires that are 2-to-1 pitch. These are the sizes I've used. It works great on every one of these sizes, all the way down to the 7/16. That's the smallest I have, but according to this, it goes all the way down to 3/8. All right, that's great. But we want to use these little colorful little plastic guys. So what size can we use? So I bought a multi-size pack that goes all the way from these little tiny things, which are 6 millimeters, which I'm pretty sure these red ones that are 1/4 inch is 6 millimeters. They're little tiny things. I really wanted to make some coloring books with them. And it goes, in my pack, I went all the way up to the 22 millimeter, which are these great big ones. Which is great because when I want to put crayon boxes in my coloring books, I can use the great big ones. But what can the cinch do for spirals? Now you have to understand this punches a large oval so that 4, because it's a 4-to-1 pitch, and that basically means you can get 4 to an inch, and in this case 4 inside of one of their punches. Where these are 2-to-1 pitch, meaning you can get 2 in 1 inch. Here you get 4 in 1 inch. That's the difference from a 2-to-1 to a 4-to-1 pitch. You cannot use a 4-to-1 pitch in a 2-to-1. See, there's no hole there. In a 2-to-1 punch, it won't work. I did, however, show you how to punch using the mini to where you can put 2 in each hole, and there's 2 holes per inch. So you can indeed use a 4-to-1 pitch spiral if you use my hack in my other video. And I will put a link to that video. For the original cinch and the mini cinch, you can use 4-to-1 spirals. So now let's talk about the sizes. Now that we know that a 4-to-1 spiral fits, how do we know what size? Now we've always been told that the size of your spiral means how thick your notebook is. Like you can't have a notebook this thick in a spiral that's the same size. It's not going to fit. It's not going to open. But what they don't talk about is that it's just as important to know how much space you have between the edge of the paper and your punch line. And for the universal cinch, that is 6 millimeters. Now to put that in perspective, the mini and the original is only 4 millimeters. So there's less space between the hole and the edge of the paper. Why is that important? That is important because when you open your notebook, that amount of space has to be in the spiral. You need it twice. So if this is 6 millimeters and this is 6 millimeters, you automatically need 12. If you had 12, they would be touching. And if they're touching, they don't open and close as well. See? You can hear it. This is a 14 wire, which means it gives me a tiny bit of space, 2 millimeter to be exact, inside the 2 pages, allowing it to open and close and turn pages well. If I can't turn the pages, what is the point of a book? You have to be able to turn them. If they overlap, you can't turn them. So it's very important to note that because of the amount of space you have between the back, which is the end of your paper, to the punch is 6 millimeters. Double that is 12 millimeters. This is a 12 millimeter spine. Using this did not work. So 12 and under does not work. Currently, I am working on a hack. So if you're wanting to use smaller wire or smaller spirals, make sure you subscribe to this channel because I am working on how we can use these wires. I almost have it. As soon as I get it and perfect it, I'm going to put a video out because I want to use smaller wires for my little mini coloring books. I don't want to use the great big ones. I want to use the small ones. So that's important to me. So I have worked on getting that fixed. If you have the other machines and you're using my hack already, you already can go to the 10 millimeter because they are smaller space here. This is 4 millimeters. 4 and 4 is 8. And to leave 2 millimeters in the center, you can use the 10. And that's important because I like the 10. The 10 millimeter is cute. We did make some using the 1/2 inch. We made some little notebooks with all 3 machines. What I found out later, the one we did with the universal in the 1/2 inch still is not enough room. You can see they overlap. So when you're turning these pages, you don't have enough room. And it's not because they're too full, it's because they overlap. You have to like pull them to have any space between them. You have to have a small amount of space. Nowhere have I found that information when I was watching any of the Cinch videos. It was just Universal Cinch can do everything. It can't. We have limits to every piece of machine. Guys, it's not the magic cure. It's just a piece of equipment, and it does have limitations. They have to leave this up to our creativity in order to make things be a little bit better than what their intended purpose was. Now, we have found really good hacks with our other machines, with our other punch boards. I'm not going to fail you. I'm going to keep going until we can use other types of spirals. I almost have it perfected, but I need a little bit more time. Make sure you subscribe because that is coming soon. I almost have it. Now let's actually talk about binding. We're going to say that the 14 and the 16, the 14 is the absolute smallest you can go. Absolute smallest, because you have 3 millimeters and 3 millimeters, and you need that little 2 millimeter space in between. You guys can see that? You need that space between. If you don't have that space between, your pages overlap and you can't open and close and flip your book comfortably. However, keep in mind, you cannot overfill it either. I have 12 pages that are double and 12 pages that are double. So I have 24 single cheap printer paper pages, 1 piece of cardstock, and 2 pieces of decorative cardstock. That is it. And guys, I'm going to say that's the max you should put in there. I wouldn't put any more in there to make it a comfortable fold, a comfortable flip. This flips very nice. It flips back very nice. They don't get all bunched up. I didn't close the ends yet because I'm still working on making sure I know how to properly close them. I am going to tell you right now that the edge, and the edge caught on my paper, when you get to the final 4th is in there, cut it right in the middle of your book. Cut it right here. Don't cut it way over here because then it stabs this. Same thing on the other side. It is cut right at my book almost. Now, if you want to close this so that it's not coming out, take a piece of needle nose pliers and bend your wire until it's straight at the end, and that'll keep it from coming out. This book, I want to be able to replace the pages. I did make it soft bound on purpose. I want it to be skinny where I can just put it between some of my totes that are on my shelf. This will stick out and I can just grab and go. So this is my personal book so that I can have my logs and have them readily available. But this isn't the book we're making for this video because this is very personal. Put whatever you want in there. All I did was use decorative cardstock for each cover. I didn't make the cover. I'm going to show you how to use this book and make the cover. Now this is made with chipboard, but instead of covering the chipboard, wrapping it around the edges, putting an inside piece, I chose to go with a very simple, very easy cover. One side is covered with cardstock, pretty decorative. The inside is left to that cardboard look brown. I don't mind this look. If you don't want this look, you can cover both sides, or you can use our traditional wrap where we actually wrap the paper around the cardstock, around the chipboard. We wrap it and fold the edges around on all 4 sides, and then we put a piece of cardstock on the inside. It makes it stiffer, it makes it harder and thicker, but I didn't find it necessary for this book. This is a very decorative book. I made it very pretty on purpose. This is a password book, and I don't even know if I have a video on this one. I think I need to still make the video on this one. It's just basically a password hint book. but we wrapped the actual cover and it makes it thicker, stiffer, a little more elegant. That's why I used the pretty gold wires to match the actual elastic. I do have multiple videos on how to make these covers and make notebooks such as this one. For this, I wanted just the plain cover. I wanted it to be basic. I wanted it to have just a basic look. I also wanted it to be semi-thin. I didn't want it to be thick. And for this one, I actually used the 16mm loops. Now again, on this one, I'm going to cut my wire directly straight out from my book. I'm going to do the other side like that. I was wondering if it needed to actually touch before I cut it. The answer is no, it will stop your pages from opening fully. Now, on my Facebook page, you can grab this sheet. I'm calling it the make and buy. This is your make side and this is your buy side. Not to mince words, not to make it difficult or make it complicated. I'm going to make this. What do I need to buy? I left you a little area for notes in case you wanted to make notes about what you're making. And I left a little area in case you needed other items at the store that you wanted to remember, but it wasn't necessarily in the list to buy. I did not make these folded. If anybody wants these folded so they'll be on both sides, let me know. I left it like this in case through the week you needed a scribble pad. If you want a folded version, I will remake it and I will make a folded version for you. But this is the cut version, which means you're going to take a full sheet of paper and you're going to cut it. So I put 26 pages in here. That's a 6 months. That's 26 weeks, which is half a year, 6 months. If this is sitting in my kitchen on my kitchen counter, I'm going to need a new one in 6 months, guys, because I'm a messy cook. I did add a divider sheet, so at a glance, I could see where my next one was. I didn't put a tab. I kept it simple. And then in the back is a recipe page. I already had this page designed. I just made it into the half page size. As I'm finding recipes, I might want to try for the week. I don't want to put them in my recipe book yet. I don't know how they're going to taste. I may want to try them several times. So I left a blank space here that I could put a photo, or I could put try number 1, leave out the onions. Try number 2, add more milk. Just something that I can figure out, because again, I'm trying to eat healthy. So I have to test recipes and make sure that they actually taste good, because if it doesn't taste good, I'm not going to eat it and I'm going to go grab something that I shouldn't be eating. So I put the recipes in the back. If you don't want to put the recipes in the back, you could actually put some notebook pages in the back. And you can mix the folded pages with the cut pages because they are all half page. And I call these the half page because it is half a piece of regular 8.5 by 11 cut in half. So that is what's inside my book. I'm going to show you how to make these very simple covers, and then I'm going to show you how to punch and put the wire in and take it out. So let's get started. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need 2 pieces of chipboard or whatever you use. Some people use cereal boxes. People use a variety of other things. Make sure you have it a slightly stiff. Let there be light. I forgot to turn the light on. So this is the chipboard that I'm using. It's 30 point. You have 2 of them, one for the front, one for the back. Cut at 5.5 by 8.5 because this is a half sheet. The other thing I did was I put a regular piece of cardstock in the center just to give it some color. I wanted to really accent this yellow because this paper with this yellow looks great. It again is 5.5 by 8.5. And then I printed out the 2 sheets and cut them in half. I did use my Cinch stack cutter to cut these in half. I will say that is saving me some time. It cuts clean. There's no fuzzies on the ends. As long as you set it exactly where you want it, don't let it move when you're butting your paper up against it. It does cut perfect. So I do have a video on the Cinch stack cutter if you want to check that out as well. These are the 2 pages that I am putting in. And again, I did 26. So I just did 26 of this one too, just to make it even. I may have done 24 of this one. I may have been 1 page short. So I'm going to stack them up. I'm going to put my paper in the middle. And I'm going to set this to the side so we can make our cover. Now our cover is very simple, but there's an even simpler way to do it. We're going to get rid of these little spirals that we can't use. I'm going to move you over a little. One thing is that you have to have enough paper to cover both of these. But the good thing is, without wrapping them around the edges, you're just doing one side, you need less paper. If I was going to wrap these, I could only use one paper for one cover. Yes, I would have leftover because I needed to have a 1/2 inch all the way around. I would have paper left over, but not enough to do the other one. Because of the way we're doing it today, one piece of 12 by 12 cardstock will cover both and leave you enough to make a really pretty card or smaller notebook, or you can use that leftovers to put a pocket in the front and the back of your book. Maybe you want to save a receipt, or you want to save a little note that you made yourself when you didn't have your book available. So let's put these two covers on this pretty little paper. I am trying to keep my Cinch videos numbered, just so that if you guys are in my Facebook page and you're asking me questions about a video, make sure you actually tell me what number video you were watching for the question, so I can go back and make sure I answer it properly. So what we're going to do is we are going to attach these two pieces of chipboards to the actual corner of the 12 by 12 paper. This is going to save us paper, because even this strip right here can be used for card making. I like to keep a little box of scraps and doodads and extra things that I've cut out. I like to keep a little box, and then every now and then I grab that box and I go make some cards. So now let's talk about adding this chipboard to the paper. You can use anything you want. It's very important for this type of cover that you put your adhesive all the way to the edge. So if you're using a tape runner, you need to make sure that you go slow and go all the way to the edge. And I'm actually going to put a strip right beside it. And I'm going to do that on all 4 sides. And the reason is you're no longer wrapping this around. You're putting it right to the edge. And that's what you're going to be using to flip that book open and shut. This is Squeaky, by the way. He's in a lot of my videos, or she's in a lot of my videos. This is the Advanced Tape Glider. It is double-sided tape. She squeaks, and from what I've heard from you guys is a lot of people has the squeaking one. I'm putting it all the way to the edge, and then I'm putting an extra strip. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to add extra. And again, I'm doing this because I'm not wrapping the paper around. We don't usually put this much on our chipboard. And I'm going to put it here so you can see I went all the way to the edge, and then I added extra in the center. Now we're going to put this lined up directly corner, so that this edge and this edge are already lined up and cut, so we don't have to. So if you put it in the corner and you line up one, if your paper is cut properly, and you can see I have a tiny bit here, but that's okay. If you have any extra adhesive, make sure you rub that off. And now we have this one nice and secure. Now let's do the other side before we cut this, and that's because I'm going to show you a little trick. We're going to put the adhesive on again, and we're going to go all the way to the edge. This guy really does squeak. So you want to go slow, go as close to the edge as you can without going over. And I'll show you when we get done why that's important. If you do have a little piece that didn't get close to the edge and it causes a problem later, we can add just a little glue. If it didn't get to the edge and you have to go over it again, this stuff is so thin that it's okay if it doubles. Your corners are very important. Make sure you get the edge of your corners. Then you're going to add extra strips here. And again, we have all our adhesive, and we can put it in this corner. We're going to go to the corner. We're going to use our thumb to hold it. We're going to put this down and across. And now we have both our pages lined up. I'm going to, I don't usually use this guy in the video, but this is one of those cutters that's a rotary, and the blade is always sharp. You never have to sharpen the blade. This thing is so old, guys. I can't even tell you how old it is. But because it's a rotary blade, it never needs sharpening, so it's always ready to go. The downside to this board is that between the 5.5 and the 6, there's no markings. So if I need to cut something at 5 3/4, I have to figure out the reverse so that I can get it properly. That is my only fault with this one. So I know this is 8.5, so I'm going to take this to the 8.5. Now, my chipboard for some reason is supposed to be 8.5 by 11, but I've always noticed that the 8.5 side is slightly over. In this case, that's a good thing because I can take this to the 8.5 line and cut it, and it cuts off that sliver of chipboard that's over. Now, I think my chipboard was slightly over this way, so I'm going to put it in the 8.5 just to make sure. There was nothing really cut off there, but this thing can cut the smallest sliver. As you can see, it cut my paper sliver off. You guys, that no other cutter is going to cut that without ripping the paper. This is a rotary blade in here, not a regular blade that we see in most of our cutters like this. This dulls really quick, especially with paper. Now, I've cut vinyl with this, paper, chipboard. It does cut 30-point chipboard really well. It's a tad pricey, but it's so worth it because of the amount of blades you would have to purchase. So we know this is 5.5. So I'm going to put it to 5.5 and cut it. And again, my chipboard was slightly bigger, and you guys see what it cut. So now I'm going to put this one in at 5.5. And it did not cut the chipboard, so this piece of chipboard was fine. So now I have my pretty little covers. They're nice and secure, and because we went to the edges are secure. If you're not comfortable that the edges are secure, get you a small paintbrush, some Mod Podge or paper glue, and just run a strip up each side, and it will secure it. Or if you think this book is going to be used a lot, you could do that anyway, just as a precaution. Now let's get everything back to where we were. Now we have our pretty little covers. Again, we saved paper because we did not wrap them around. The back can be decorated. You can stamp it, color it, paint it. You can add vinyl. You can add a pocket. You can have one of those pockets with the 3 tags that I show in some of my other videos would be a great idea for the inside of this book. So now let's make our book. In order to do that, we have to have all of the elements ready to go before we start punching. You do not want to start punching until you have everything ready to go. I did want to tell you guys, as far as the binding goes, if you're trying to look for a way to cut this, these are plastic snips that people that have 3D printers use for their filament. Because my husband has 3D printing, he had an extra pair, so I kind of liberated one. They work great for this plastic. It cuts it nice and clean, doesn't take multiple cuts. It's one little snip and it's done. They are very pointy and sharp, so you're going to want to keep them out of reach of children or wives who try to liberate your tools. So now let's punch our half-page make and buy sheets. Now we're not going to do anything fancy, anything different. We're going to do exactly what this machine is intended for. I know everybody just gasped. Oh my goodness, she's going to do it the right way? Yes, I am going to do this exactly the way the machine was intended, specifically so I can show you guys, and I'm going to turn it so you guys can see what I'm doing. I want to show you guys what this machine's intended purpose for punching the holes and placing the spiral in. And we're going to put our book in the order that we want it. So you're going to pick out what you want for the front, and I really do like this one. And I like him like this. And this is the back. You need to put it exactly like you want it. Pretend this is the point of no return. It's not. Pretend it is. I've got my cover. All of my sheets are right side up. I've got my divider. All of my sheets are right side up. and I've got my cover where the outside piece is on the outside. Everybody good? All right, let's bind. First thing we're going to need to do is this is going to need more than 6 holes. You can do 6 holes if you want. You have to figure out how to line it up because our slider has no marks. I thought this was a deal breaker for me. I honestly thought I was going to be like, no way I'm going to use this machine because the slider doesn't have marks. It does slide. And it does have marks here only. I have done some creative things by bringing it out line to line. So I've done some creative things this way. I honestly haven't missed the lines yet. But again, guys, this is only the 5th video and you know me. I can't just buy something and use it the way it's intended. We're going to push all of these in because I need to punch all 6 holes and then some. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. First thing we need to do is we need to punch the first set of 6 holes. A personal preference of mine so that I keep punching in the same way consistently for the whole book is I do face down. I think I do that because I had a printer that I would have to put a document in, and I had to remember how to put the document in it in order for it to print properly, and it was always face down, feet first. Sorry guys, but now everything I do is face down. And this keeps it consistent because I want the amount of space here to be exact on every one of these pages. So bear with me. If you want to do it face up, you can. I prefer face down and lining it up to the lines. This is 8.5. Because it's 8.5, we line it up to the half mark. There's a 0.5 here. Doesn't matter if your slider is in or out, that 0.5 is a line in itself. We're going to put it face down. I'm going to line it up to the 5, push all 6, move my hand out of the way. My hand is small enough to stay here, lined up to the 5, and punch. Now I have 6 punches. This punch is the last one I punched, so I'm going to put it in the tab that's on the side of the machine. You're going to put it inside, but look, you have a lot of play. You need to push it toward the machine. Don't pull it out, push it toward the machine. By pushing it toward the machine, holding it to the back, I notice that this one will clear, this one will clear, this one will not. So I pull it out. And then I punch. No math, no games, no playing around, totally visual. And I think that's why I'm comfortable without this. For now, we might find later that I can't do something because of that. And if that's the case, guys, I will figure out how to make us a sticker for this. So now I have 8 punches. I did 6 and then I did 2. Now I have my half page. And this one is ready to go. We're going to put it face down off to the side. We're going to do the next ones. This one does not punch, in my opinion, as much as the original one. So I don't overload it. But I'm going to do the same thing. You're going to push all of them in, put it to the 5, punch. Then you're going to put the last one in the peg. You're going to push that stack of papers in and make sure that your corner has it flush to the back. If you do this, because that is a circle, that is not a full-size oval holding it, you're going to be off. So push it in and push it all the way to the back and pull out number 3. And punch. When I push my tab up, that is when I push my 3 in so I don't forget. And now I have these. And I'm going to put them face down out of the way. And we're going to do the next batch. I thought it was going to be a problem not having that piece that you butt the paper up to on this side. So far, I have not noticed, and this was a little thicker than it should have been, I have not noticed a problem not having that paper stop. I thought I was going to have a problem with it. We're going to pull out 3, which is important. open it, push 3 back in. We're going to put these face down out of the way. We're not going to do too many this time. We're going to put it to the 5.5, punch all 6. Move it to the last tab, push it in, push it back, pull 3. We have our total number again. Again, guys, put what you're comfortable cutting, because that feel that you have in your hand is important. If it feels too thick, it probably is. All 6, punch. Put the little tab, push it in, pull 3. Open your tab. Here's our last little stack, and then we'll do our back. Don't get in such a hurry that you mess up. If you did not push this in and you punched and then you realized it before you took it out, just push it in and punch again. If you took it out, try to line it up exactly where it was and then punch it again. It's important to make sure it still touches the back, and it's important to make sure the 3 is out, or you're going to have a random hole at the bottom of your page. So far, we've done great. Now, because I do face down, this is my face. So this goes face down. I'm going to punch all 6. I'm going to go to the last hole, push it in the machine and back, and pull 3. Open, close. So I was sitting everything to the side face down. So now I have all of my pages. And guys, I don't know if you can see that, but it is cut perfectly. Without that page stop, I really thought, I don't know if you could see it better with the red behind it, I really thought these pages were going to be all wonky because I couldn't line them up. Because you can't punch this much at one time, the idea that they're going to shift, I always thought I needed the little paper stop, but maybe not. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, on the original Cinch, there is this paper stop here. So when you put your items in here, you butt it up against the paper stop to make sure they're all lined up. However, I haven't found this to be a game like a, oh, I can't use this because I don't have a paper stop. It really does work. And so far, the measurements work. If your page is an even number, say this was 9 inches, then you would either put it on the 0 if you want to start close to the edge, or you'd put it on a 1 if you want to start further away from the edge. If your paper is at the 0.5, such as ours, because it's 8.5, you put it on the 0.5. If your paper is 4 1/4, you'd put it on the 1/4. If it's 4 3/4, you'd put it on the 3/4. But what if my paper wasn't one of these sizes? That really bothered me. But then I got out my log. I don't make any papers that are not in the 1/4, 1/2, or 3/4, except I made an A5 and an A6, and that required the 5.8. The 5.8 is so close to a 5 3/4 that if you just used the 1/4 for the 0.8, I think you will be fine. But if you look at these, none of mine are different than the 3/4, the 1/2, and the 1/4. So even with it just having this minimal amount, and I complained, guys, big time, no paper stop, why don't we have a ruler, blah, blah, blah. I did complain a lot about this machine when I first got it. I still think it has flaws. I still think it needs hacks, tricks, that kind of thing. But guys, that could just be me because I can't just buy a piece of equipment and do the way it's supposed to be done. So that could just be me. So now let's talk about the spirals. We are going to use the 16 millimeter. And I have to show you guys something. So my plastic came in these pretty, they wrapped it, they labeled it. They did a great job. Keep in mind, this is a multiple set. I got like 7 different sizes. 4 of them are actually going to be used for the way this universal cinch punches now, but I am working on a hack so we can use them all, or almost all of them. But do you guys know when you get your wires, they're all tangled, you can't get them untangled, they're a hot mess. We have this topic on my Facebook page a lot about how you store these wires. Well, you guys are going to love this. There's no tangling. You can put these in a drawer and mash them all you want. No matter what I do, there's no tangling. Now watch this. I can squish these back together, put them back in my tube, with no effort whatsoever. And I know the size, I know what they are. They can't be bent, they can't be squished, they can't be pulled out of whack. They're just simply, I'm sure I'm sure you can destroy them. I'm sure I could try and do it, but they're more indestructible than these wires are. And let me show you. Okay, don't judge, but this is my current mess of double loop wires that I have to sort out. I love all the colors. I love having one size per drawer. But guys, this is a hot mess, and this is going to be so much easier for storage. Now, I don't want to do just one wire or the other. I want to be able to do both because this is for more of an elegant book, a book you're going to keep, a book you're going to have around, and this is for more of a book you're going to use until it wears out. Then you can actually take this out and reuse it, ditch the book, make a new one, even put the same binding in again if you would like. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to put this binding in because you don't want anything complicated. With the spiral binding, you are not using the back of your machine. That is only for the wires because you need to close the wires. These are already closed. I recommend that you have a binder clip and clip this book. And I didn't keep them out to show you why. You can do it without it. I just wanted to show you how much easier it is with. You're going to hold the wire in your hand with the little edge. You're going to put that edge in the hole, in the very first hole, and you're just going to spin it. When it gets 4 in that hole, and this is why you need the clip to hold it, help it go to the next one. And then you're just going to spin it, and it's going to put 4 in that hole, and you're going to help it go to the next one. And just keep spinning. And as you guys notice, I'm doing this in real time. I'm not speeding up the camera. I'm going to talk so you can see. The bigger the wire, the less you have to help it go to the next one. If the wire was one size bigger, it would go to the next one on its own. From what I have experienced, it's super easy. And you're just going to spin, 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 spin. You guys see it's just working its way up there. I'm just helping it along by spinning. The longer your book, sometimes you'll need to spin down here and then spin up. And you just keep going, and it doesn't take but a few seconds. It doesn't even take a full minute. Once you get to where that end is at your notebook, that is where you stop. And now there's 4 in there, so I'm going to cut this one parallel with my book. I'm going to come back up here. This one is not in the hole, and I'm going to cut that one parallel with my book. And now I have a notebook that opens with space down the center. I can flip my pages. I can turn my notebook around. I have all of this space between here and here. There's a little space, and that is what you have to have in order to successfully turn these binding pages. So they store better, they're more indestructible, they are super fun to play with. Make sure you throw these away so you don't get animals or kids grabbing them. And this is how you make a spiral notebook. Keep in mind, the 14 millimeter is the smallest I would go currently using your universal cinch. This is the 14, and if your pages get in there and wrinkle, you might have to fix them. This is the 14, this is the 16. If you want to make a choice between the 14 and 16, just go ahead and go with the 16. Gives you a little bit more play, makes it a little easier. The 14 is a little bit more snug. Would probably be better if I didn't put these little note pages in the back, maybe if it didn't have as many pages. But remember, the 14 is the smallest you can go. You need 14 or above. I would say 16 if you're okay with that size. There's not much difference in the size, so it might depend on what size you can actually buy based on where you live and where you shop. So this is the half-page book, guys. Make sure you come to my Facebook page to get these sheets. Make sure you subscribe, like this video, subscribe, ask me questions down below, ask me questions on my Facebook page. I will be more than happy to answer them. I am not bending these ends to these wires because, like I said, I want to be able to, on this one, I want to be able to change out the sheets, so I'm leaving them as is. That way, I can just as easily unbind this book. You guys see? All I do is reverse twist. I can unbind the whole thing, replace my pages as needed, and then just bind it right back up. It doesn't stretch anything out. These coils do not change shape. They don't get flattened or mashed or anything. You can simply take the whole binding out, change the page that needs to be changed, or add another page in. If you add a page here, you're probably going to want to take a page out back here just so that it doesn't get any thicker. So that's my video for today, guys. That's another video on the Universal Cinch. Let me know your thoughts on this machine if you have it. I'm curious to see how many people have actually been able to purchase this one. It is pricey. I don't think the price is going to come down anytime soon based on their usual pattern. The other machines might come down because this one is out, and that'd be a great time to snag another machine. Christmas is coming. Make sure you put your crafty items on your Christmas list for Santa. And as always, happy crafting.